I came down from above to ignite a fire on this land, and how I long for it to burn, Creator Sets Free said to his followers. I have a purification ceremony with fire to accomplish, and I am desperate to finish it. Do you look for me to bring peace to this land? No, I tell you first, there will be great conflict. The message I bring will pierce like the blade of a long knife. It will even separate family members. A family of 5 will take sides, 3 against 2, 2 against 3. Fathers, sons, mothers and daughters, uncles and nephews, aunties and nieces, they will all fight like enemies, all because of me and my message. Creator Sets Free then said to the crowd, when a cloud rises in the west, you say, "Ooh, it's going to rain soon." And so it does. The wind blows from the south and you say, "Ooh, it's going to be a hot day." And so it is. Then he spoke to the spiritual leaders. You who wear false faces, you understand what the earth, the wind, and the sky are saying, but you are blind to the message of the season you live in. The Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verses 49 to 56. Good morning or afternoon, Westover, whenever you're watching this. The question I have for this video reflection while I'm sitting on a beach at Lake Erie is, what is this thing? What is this thing we call the Bible? Because I want to spend some time probably in the fall digging into this a little bit more, but I also want to explain some of the reasons behind some of the conversations we've been having about, why it is what I teach, how we go about doing things, and just the ongoing importance I see in the character we have established and continue to establish at Westover and Mountsburg as well. This day, it's very divisive. I don't say that lightly, and I don't say that with any sort of sense that there's been no previous days that have not been divisive as well. This is the great blessing. This is the great gift of teaching Christian history and being aware of this sort of stuff, is that every age has its issues. And while, sure, the past few years have given us a few more dramatic ones, this is not a cause to lose hope. In fact, I think it's a cause to have hope. But just for this brief video reflection, because we've all got stuff to do and we want to move on with our lives and discuss this a little bit later on this month, I do want to talk about one of the ways we can look at the Bible, because I think it's so important. And I put a lot of seriousness on how we're interpreting the Bible, because that, of course, impacts how we're living our lives. And for many of our brothers and sisters in the faith, and I would actually make the argument that whether you're Roman Catholic, a variety of the Orthodox, or a variety of the Protestants, all Christians have the Bible, obviously, as a pretty key document to explain why it is we do what we do. But of course, as we know, within Christianity, there's so many different interpretations. There's so many different motivations. We're not exactly known to be getting along great with each other. I mean, the fact that there are so many Protestant denominations somewhat indicates that for some of us, we would rather just kind of do our own thing than, find unity with each other in the ways that many of the Orthodox do, or definitely the Roman Catholics do. But what is so important to me, and why I spend so much time trying to study the world of the Bible and understand not just the world of the Bible, but the 2,000 years since, and how various Christians have interpreted the Jesus event, what they think is important, what they think a Christian should do in order to call him or herself a Christian, is sort of how we look at the Bible. This mission of our life is to use the Bible as this guiding tool. But for years, I've seen the Bible definitely not as an instruction booklet. It's way too complicated. It's way too deep. You can't just, some people once said Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving Earth. And for the record, I 100% disagree with that statement. It's such a cheesy, wrong way to understand what it is the Bible's trying to do. It's a complex, vast, epic narrative. And there's real stakes to this life. There's real stakes to this thing we call faith. Now, one, I don't think faith is assenting to a particular set of articulated beliefs. And that has been a big part of the Christian history. We have creeds, we have confessions, we have catechisms, we have all these different things. Oh, when I said that, I didn't think they'd all start with C, alliteration. Christian history is just full of different people sort of putting things, the faith, into bite-sized chunks. And there's obviously some value in that. It helps you sort of understand, from the Apostles' Creed to the Ten Commandments to the fact that we do the Lord's Prayer every Sunday. That is an important element. But it's not the totality of the Christian faith. And this world really does matter. Who we are, how our hearts are revealed, is essential to the Christian faith. And I say that this life matters. It's not just about getting to heaven. It's not just about leaving earth. It's not about these instructions. This life matters for one reason and one reason only: the incarnation. Jesus deemed this life valuable by participating in this life. Therefore, life is sacred. It's not just there to get us into heaven. It's not just a stopway or a purgatory or a set of tests to see if we're worthy of heaven. It's so much deeper than that, because Jesus lived it out in all its messy, wonderful, beautiful complexity. But now that we have the Bible, we look at it, I also want you to understand, and what I've believed for years and have been trying to communicate to you, is the Bible is an apocalypse. And now apocalypse has a negative connotation in our society. But what apocalypse really means is a revelation. It's a revealer. It is the ability to open up what is otherwise hidden or concealed. And I think it's fair to say that the past few years especially, we've been in a season of apocalypse. So I hope this goes back to my earlier statement, that it's not just a negative thing, that apocalypse reveals that which needs to be revealed. And of course, we are vested in our illusions. We are vested in the way we think things should go. And when we are woken up, like when we wake up in the morning and rub our eyes, it's not always the most favorite thing we have to do, but we have to do it. So an apocalypse is a revealing of that which needs to be revealed. And what defines what needs to be revealed is defined by God. So what does this all mean with the Bible? I believe one of the most important ways we can use the Bible is to recognize that it is an apocalypse. It is a revealer. Throughout history, there have been contentious believers. To the American Civil War, we have same culture, same language, same history, same background. We have a war that's happening between the North and the South. And in some instances, we have two people reading the same Bible passage from the same translation of the Bible and coming to two violently diametrically opposed positions. So what is that all about? Because at the heart of it is also why a lot of people don't find a value in the church anymore, because there's so many different ways to interpret the Bible. How can we actually hold it to be true? And therein lies what I want to talk about. The Bible, being an apocalypse, being a revealer, allows us, or I would say more than allows us, sets before us a very serious task. A very important task, a task that is the heart of all of what we do, what we believe, and how we operate. If you want to be in favor of slavery, oppression, violence, genocide, all that sort of stuff, I got news for you. You will find passages in the Bible to support that. If you want to be about forgiveness, mercy, love, and a deep, abiding biblical joy, good news. You will also find passages in the Bible about that. So what's the key difference between passages of oppression and passages of freedom? Passages of judgment and passages of forgiveness? You and me. Therein lies the revealing element. It is placed before us, not as a test, but as a revealer. If our hearts are bent towards judgment, oppression, violence, darkness, the things that Jesus clearly stated time and again are not of his Father's kingdom, we will use the Bible as a weapon. And it'll feel right to us. Because again, in the New Testament, Paul says this. He's like, there was a time when I killed, fully believing I was doing this as worship to God. But now I see how wrong I had been. And he dedicated the rest of his life to correcting that. The Bible will reveal our heart. And in that, and if it's all about just getting into heaven, when each one of us stands before the throne of judgment, we will have no one else to blame. You won't be able to blame me. You won't be able to blame the church or the translations or the denominations, etc., etc., etc. If you have studied the stories of Christ, if you have spent time trying to understand the Jesus event and came away with violence, oppression, darkness, and judgment, that reveals a deep sickness in your heart. That reveals a desire not to be in the kingdom of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, forgiveness, love, etc. I think I said love twice on purpose. So as Westover, to wind this up, whatever it is that we're going to do in Westover, going forward, as your minister, as your pastor, as the one you look to understand the Bible a little bit more, I am absolutely dedicated to giving you all the tools to reveal the beauty and the heart of each one of you. To say that, I know the church says this, but I've always kind of felt this work a little bit better. Be like, in that is the living God speaking to you. And that, in community, trumps, how do I say this delicately? Trumps bad theology. We have to do this together. It's not just up to me. It's not just up to each one of you. We have to do this together. But if you're reading the Bible and finding ways to condemn other people, I offer you a very stern warning. You are revealing not what God's desires are, but your own. And the story of Jesus is the offering of the corrective. It's the self-sacrificing of God to offer you a corrective about the true heart of God, which is why I love what we do focus on in Westover. Not only do I think it's fun, not only do I think it's made for a great community and it's been very organic and lovely, whatnot, but I think it's also showing the revealing of each one of your hearts, bent towards love and justice and forgiveness. And that sets me free. That gives me tremendous joy because I think, and we'll always just think, that's why we call this thing faith. I think we're using the Bible correctly. We are aligning ourselves with the open, honest, forgiving, loving message of Jesus. And in so doing, we're revealing our desire to live in the world that He told us about, rather than the world that we want to make. Okay? I hope you're doing well. Even though I'm on vacation, I do think about you. And that's it. Amen, amen, and amen. Look forward to the discussion about this one in a future Sunday. Bye.